it's Miss Simpson, and it is time for math today. We are going to start learning how to measure angles using a protractor. So that's pretty exciting. If you have a protractor, it would be awesome if you could get that out for me because you are going to need it today in your assignment. Okay, if you don't have a protractor, I promise you I'm not going to leave you hanging. I'm going to make sure that you have something to do today that practices measuring angles. So let's go ahead and let's talk about this protractor. So before we get started, I want to remind you what a ray looks like. Does anybody remember what a ray is? So a ray is the dot and the arrow. So an angle, whether it is acute, obtuse, or right, it is measured, or it is made up of two rays. So you have this first ray and another ray, and they are joined together by something called a vertex, and that is this little dot, or sometimes angles don't have the dot, they just look like this, but it is where the two rays meet. So I want to take a look at our protractor. So a protractor has all of these little marks. It has a little millimeters down here. It has a ruler down here, some of them, but also there is a dot. There is a dot right here in the middle that you can stick your pencil through. So what you do to measure a ray, you first have to learn how to line it up. So when I line up an angle, I put the middle, the vertex, on the dot. And you see this line right here? You line this up with the bottom ray. So if I put the dot on my vertex and I put the line on my line, the line on my ray, it should match up perfectly. Okay, so then you can, leaving it there, follow your second ray all the way up to the top, and you will get a nice angle measure up here at the top. So before we get started learning how to show me the degrees, remember degrees are the units that we use to measure angles, kind of like inches, feet, miles, yards. We use degree to measure angles. So before we get started, is this a right angle, an acute angle, or an obtuse angle? This is an obtuse angle, right? So that is something really important for you to know, because remember, an obtuse angle is more than 90 degrees. So when you're measuring your angles with a protractor, there are typically two measurements on there. There is your top numbers and your bottom numbers. So if I am looking at this angle right here, I can either I'm going to extend it out just a little bit so I can better tell. And this is how I extend it out. If it doesn't reach all the way to the top, I just get my pencil and draw it further. So let me line up my vertex and my line down there. So if I was to measure from the top, it would be 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57 degrees. So I'm going to write that real quick. If I were to measure from the bottom, it would be, so you see how there's 120? And it goes up this way to 130. So I would go 120, 121, 122, 123. So you're like, but there are two measurements, Miss Simpson. Which one am I going to pick? Well, guess what? We know an obtuse angle is more than 90 degrees. So if it's an obtuse angle, it can't measure 57 degrees. This angle is 123 degrees. Let's try another one. Let me get out my paper. Sorry, guys. So if I am looking at this angle right here, let's do this one because I've already done obtuse. If I'm looking at this angle right here, what kind of angle is this? I hope that you said acute. So if this is an acute angle, it needs to be less than 90 degrees. So I can't use the big numbers, right? Because it's too small. I need to use the little numbers. So I'm going to line my dot up, my vertex dot with this hole. And then my ray will be lined up with this line right here. That is the most important part. Once you get that done, you follow your second ray to see the degrees. So if I am looking at this, I'm not going to use the big numbers, right? Because remember, it is an acute angle. It is a small angle. So I'm going to use the small numbers. So this is, let's start at 40, because notice it goes from 40 to 50. So we can't go 50, 51, 52, 53. We can't go backwards. We have to go from 40 up. So let's go 40. And each of these tiny marks represents one. So 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, and it is right at 47 degrees. Is 47 less than 90? Oh, I put greater than 90. Whoops. But whatever. Is it less than 90 degrees? Yeah. So that one is correct. Let's practice measuring another one. So remember, in order to do it, I have a vertex right here, and that is where the hole of my protractor goes. Is this an acute, a right, or an obtuse angle? It looks obtuse. So I'm going to use the bigger numbers. So if I take it, line up my vertex, line up my ray, so everything is nice and straight. Then I'm going to follow this ray all the way out, and it's not long enough, so I'm going to draw it a little bit longer just so I can make sure I'm correct. Okay, line up my vertex, line up my my ray, and then I'm going to go out here and I'm going to count it. So I'm at 110, 111, and 112 degrees. Does 112 degrees sound correct? Yeah, because it's obtuse, and an obtuse is more than 90 degrees. So if an obtuse is more than 90 degrees, that's more than 90 degrees, so I'm good. Let's go ahead and do this crazy looking one. So I'm going to line up my vertex with the end, or line up my dot with the vertex, line up my line with the ray. And I know this one is acute, like there is no doubt about it. So this one needs to be less than 90 degrees. So I'm going to take a look. It can't be 170. That is way more than 90 degrees. So it's going to have to be this bottom one. So 10, 11, 12. Do y'all see that? 10, 11, 12. So this one is 12 degrees. So on the screen right now, I am going to show you this one. I want you to come up with what you think the measurement of this angle is on your own. So pause it, come up with it, and then we will check your answer. Oops, let me draw it out a little bit for you because I think that'll help. So draw it out. It needs to be as exact as possible. It looks like to me both the bottom and the top say 90 degrees. So what kind of angle is this? If it is exactly 90 degrees, it is a right angle. Okay, let's do one more. I'm going to put it, this one's really weird, but the vertex is right here. I'm going to put it on my vertex. I'm going to line it up with my ray. And I want you to determine what is the measurement of this angle. Okay, so I hope that you looked and you said, okay, well, this is obtuse, so it needs to be more than 90 degrees. So I'm going to look and I see 160 right here. But it is close to 160, but I'm counting from 150. So 150, 151, 152, 153, 154, 155, 56, 57, 58. 159 degrees is what I got. Is that what you got? As long as it's pretty close, I will take it. So if you said 160, 158, 161, those are all pretty close in there. All right, so for your assignment today, you are going to be measuring angles. So I am going to find a way to try and let you do it without a protractor. So you are going to try and measure the angles and look at them down below. A lot of the time when you are measuring angles, I'm going to have a protractor already on here, and it's already marked for you. You have just got to go look at the extra ray. So you don't even have to line the protractor up. It's already lined for you on top of the ray or on top of the angle, and you just have to go look and measure it. All right, guys, I love y'all so much, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day. Bye.